Hey everyone, Kevin here. By now you've probably heard that there's a potential drug treating the illness that the coronavirus causes, which is really cool. We heard of this anecdotal evidence on Thursday, which is basically just a fancy way of saying people were talking about, oh crap, this might actually be working. This is good. And sure enough, what happened? Well, that stock in after hours shot up 16 to 18% in value, and the next day, almost the entire stock market was up somewhere between 8 to 10% depending on which stock you looked at. Well, I can't help but asking, does that mean there is a potential opportunity to invest in the drug maker who makes this drug and potentially double or triple our money? You can't fault me for asking. And so in this video, I'm going to go through with you all of my research that I've put together over the last 3 days, all of the various different studies. I'm just gonna give you the key points, the key findings. I'm gonna show you how you might either make, double, or triple your money, or you'll just go bankrupt. So let's talk about it starting right now. First things first, it's always helpful to understand there's a difference between a cure or a treatment, something that solves a problem once you have it, and a vaccine, which is something that prevents you from getting something in the first place. A vaccine is something that generally everybody gets, which means there's this never-ending pool of people who need the drug, which is a never-ending source of revenue until somebody makes a generic for that company. On the flip side, a cure is kind of like coming up with an anti-venom for snake bites or spider bites. Your only potential customers are people who are getting bit by black widows and toxic spiders and snakes. So in other words, long-term, a cure or a treatment is probably going to be a lot less profitable than a long-term vaccine for what we're against. Well, right now we are talking about a cure or a treatment, and the drug is called Remdesivir. And whether we get a cure or a vaccine, when we get one of these with at least some degree of certainty, the odds are the stock market will rally with enthusiasm so that we can finally officially open up the economy and not have to worry about second waves or third waves putting us back into quarantine and social distancing. But for now, we're just going to focus on Remdesivir, and we're going to try to figure out if Remdesivir, that specific potential cure or treatment, can make us double or triple our money. Let's start with the recap from Thursday. On Thursday, we heard anecdotal evidence, basically just a recording of some doctors talking to each other, which the stat news publication spilled the beans on. They're, I believe, a subsidiary or division or were created by the Boston Globe. Anyway, they spilled the beans and said, hey, we heard some doctors saying that 125 people were severely sick with COVID-19, and we heard that 113 of them are good, and out of the whole batch, 2 of them died, and that most people were getting cured within 6 days by using this Remdesivir drug. That sounds really good, but it's also possibly a game of telephone. That is, just because somebody says, well, this looks really good, doesn't actually mean we have something tangible that should merit us being able to double or triple our money. So this is where we have to look towards other studies, like the one that came out a day later. But before I talk about the study that came out the day after we heard about this anecdotal evidence, I want to talk about a little bit of background. Back on February 4th of 2020, we learned that Remdesivir works really, really well in vitro against the coronavirus, which basically means that Remdesivir works really well against the virus in a test tube. It's kind of like when you put the lime in the coconut and you shake it all up, all of a sudden the virus is dead. That's good. That's what we knew about 60 days ago. Then on April 13th, from an article published in the Journal of Biological Chemistry, we learned that Remdesivir is a direct-acting antiviral that inhibits the RNA-dependent blah, 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 blah. Basically, the drug appears to work against the things that make the virus work, aka another good indicator. This was all around the same time that doctors in Sweden found, wow, this Remdesivir stuff actually really does work well against the coronavirus, especially in test tubes, and we're gonna start trying it on people. This isn't even to mention that at the beginning of March, as the outbreak was really starting to spread to the United States, multiple executives at Gilead were buying shares. for Gilead stock. And then just yesterday, Reuters announced that clinical trials for Remdesivir are being bumped from 2,400 potential patients to 6,000 patients by the company Gilead. Which yesterday is also the day the Economist thought it was quite interesting that Gilead is massively ramping up production of Remdesivir. In fact, here's a quote from Gilead directly. As of late March, using the active ingredient we already had in our inventory, we have increased our supply to more than 30,000 patient courses of Remdesivir on hand, assuming a 10-day course. As new raw materials arrive over the next few weeks from our manufacturing partners around the world, blah, 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 blah. Every day we're improving the process, blah, 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 blah. Our goal is to produce a total of more than 140,000 treatment courses by the end of May, more than 500,000 treatment courses by the end of October, and more than 1 million treatment courses by December 2020, and several million treatment courses in 2021 if required. In other words, as Fed Chairman Jerome Powell is cranking out money to his choice companies and airlines and his other favorite companies, we are over here watching Gilead in the background going, we're cranking out cures, we're cranking out more Remdesivir. All of this so far seems to corroborate what we're hearing as anecdotal evidence from the trials going on at the University of Chicago Hospital. Now, before I talk about this new and most recent study that was published, let me just make this very, very clear. We have professors and instructors from Harvard, and we have people in news publications across the world, including the New York Times and the Economist, all saying the same thing. Don't get your hopes up. Nobody's drinking champagne to this. This is just anecdotal stuff we heard at the hospital. The stuff that we hear at the hospital is good sounding, but without controlled studies and solid scientific data, this is no more than hearsay. And we've seen many times before that things like this have been heard and then the drug ends up failing. Which is totally true, totally fair, absolutely accurate. Well, then comes a media advisory published in the National Institutes of Health called Antiviral Remdesivir Prevents Disease Progression in Monkeys with COVID-19. Not test tubes, not rats, monkeys. Early treatment with the experimental antiviral drug Remdesivir significantly reduced clinical disease and damage to the lungs of certain monkeys, technical term here, infected with the coronavirus that causes COVID-19. They do mention this asterisk: the findings are not peer-reviewed and should not be considered clinical advice, but are being shared to assist the public health response to COVID-19. Now, this study of monkeys involved just 12 monkeys. 6 were treated and 6 were not, and after 12 hours of the initial treatment, they found that the 6 that were treated were in significantly better health than the untreated group. They report that 1 of the 6 treated animals showed minor breathing difficulty, whereas all 6 of the untreated animals showed rapid and difficult breathing. The amount of the virus found in the lungs was significantly lower in the treatment group compared with the untreated group, and the coronavirus caused less damage to the lungs in treated animals than in untreated animals. So when I first broke this 2 days ago, I said, look, I don't like farm stocks. That is, I don't like any kind of pharmaceutical stuff. I don't get it. I don't fully understand it. I don't know much about this stuff. I'm just trying to report to you what I've been reading and what I've been taking in. But now I'm going to go into spec mode here and say, what is it going to take for us to double our money? I just want to make this very clear because I do not want to be sued. This is not financial advice. Do not make this move that I'm about to tell you and then sue me if you lose money. If you lose money, it's your fault. If you make a lot of money, well, in that case, you may as well come back and buy my awesome real estate investing course so you could really learn how to make a buck by investing in real estate. Link down below with the coupon code right next to your link for getting a quote for life insurance in under 5 minutes. You could even sign up in under 5 minutes. And of course, getting your 2 free stocks with Webull. If you deposit just $100, you get 2 free stocks valued up to $1,400 and you get a really sick stock trading platform. Which you're going to need a very awesome stock trading platform to make this move happen. Actually, probably any stock trading platform will do, but let me explain how you might be able to trade Gilead based on this information. I'm just going to call it speculative here. Again, don't want to get sued, but how could we trade Gilead and double our money? Let's talk about that. First, it's helpful to know that the stock we're talking about here is Gilead. G-I-L-D is the ticker symbol, and right now it trades for around $84 per share. Gilead used to trade for as high as $120 per share following the Ebola outbreak, which guess what? Remdesivir was actually researched and manufactured to treat Ebola. But it failed. It failed to treat Ebola. So even though the stock shot up from the high 60s to $120 a share, the stock quickly retreated back to the 60s and 70s after Remdesivir failed to treat Ebola. But this time is different. See, this time the drug is already manufactured, and this time we have rumors that it works. Good sign, right? I mean, obviously we have some studies as well, but let's just talk about the stock for right now. Let's say that right now you had $18,900 and you were thinking, you know what, should I invest in GILD or Gilead on the hopes that this Remdesivir is going to work and it is going to be the cure for COVID-19? Well, if you invest in the stock at $84, and let's say the stock now goes up to $100 in value, well, at $18,900, you would be able to buy 225 shares of Gilead, which would mean if the stock went up to $100, you would make a grand total of $3,600. Well, that's not really doubling your money. Well, fine. Let's say the stock went back to $120 a share. Let's try it that way. Well, then you would make $8,100. Also not quite doubling your money. So let's now talk about doubling your money using options. Let's say I'm really bullish on this and I blow my entire $18,900 on 20 option contracts, which will give me the right to buy 2,000 shares of Gilead at $82.50 on June 19th. Now don't worry, you don't actually have to buy 2,000 shares because I know this is a lot of money. Right now we're just focused on that $18,900 because this option contract set that you're buying becomes tradable. Well, here's the fun part. Right now, Gilead is expecting results, at least preliminary results on these trials at the end of April. But with the contracts we're buying here, we would have room until June 19th for this stock to go up to our target prices, which is really everything above $92. Right now, it's around $83, $84. And if that stock goes up by June 19th to $92, we will make $900. In other words, this is like our break even here, okay? This is the bare minimum we want is $900. This is our rough break even. As long as it's selling for around 92, we don't lose any money. If it's selling for less than 92, we start losing money. And if it sells for anything less than $82.50, well, then we lost all of our $18,900 and we basically just YOLO'd it and wrote it off as a chapter in our life of making a stupid decision following some dude's advice on YouTube. See, now you can't say that I did not tell you not to do this. But if you're crazy enough to continue and you decide, you know what, I might be crazy enough to actually make this investment, fine. If the stock by June 19th shoots up to $101.40, guess what'll happen? You will approximately have doubled your money. And obviously check my math. I'm a dude using a whiteboard, so check my math. But if the stock goes up from a strike price of $82.50 to $101.4, at the current option prices for this date, you'll have roughly doubled your money. That's pretty cool. But what if it goes back to its Ebola peak? Back in the day where it was at $120 per share. Well, in that case, you might end up making a profit from this bet of investing $18,900, make an additional profit on top of the $18,900 that you made. Well, in addition to getting your $18,900 back, you would make a profit of $56,100, which means you'll almost have tripled your money. Or like I said, the cure will flop and you'll lose all of your $18,900. The choice is yours. The good news is Gilead does have a very nice current cash position. They have at the end of 2019 over $25 billion in cash. Apparently this drug only costs about $1 per day to manufacture, and Gilead has about $25 billion in debt. So Gilead could basically take all their cash and pay off every dime of debt they have. That's pretty cool. But what's not cool is Gilead's revenue has basically been declining ever since the Ebola outbreak, and their net income has been going on a slippery slope straight down. So this might be make it or break it for their current valuation. So obviously, and as usual, here is a spec stock for you. And if you're looking for a guarantee, you're not going to find it here. But where you can get a guarantee is that you can get some amazing knowledge in my programs on real estate investing down in the links below, where I teach you how to actually buy deals below market value. Not just buy any crap or any apartment building, actually learn how to buy real estate below market value so that the day you close escrow, you know you're up money. Of course, those links and that coupon code sitting right over there next to the place where you can get those 2 free stocks with Webull when you deposit $100, and of course, your life insurance quote. We'll see y'all soon. Thanks so much.